Welcome back to STL Live. I'm Sarah Thompson, and my guest is Keith Griffin of Delux Magazine. And we've been talking about the Phenomenal Kids Awards,
Yes.
the inaugural year,
Yes.
and the events coming up on March 31st.
Correct.
I want to this is just that time to really sort of double back. I mean, I remember when Delux first came on the scene, and it was a really big deal. I mean, we had the St. Louis American, which is an amazing
Yes.
newspaper here in town. I think when you came on with the magazine, people really saw it as this like young, hip publication that would really focus on the African American community and multicultural community, and also this flair of like entertainment that brought with it. What was the idea behind it when you started it?
I mean, that was literally the idea. I just noticed throughout the city, it wasn't, there weren't any magazines that resembled me or my culture, you know, or our culture. So, me and my guy Brooklyn, we kind of sat down and we figured it out and came up with a plan. Didn't know what we were doing, and just kind of executed, you know. So, you know, 10 years later, here we are. This is actually our 10-year anniversary, 2019. So, yep, been 10 years.
And I think what was always interesting when it started off, too, that gave it, as I mentioned, that sort of flair, was that you had a lot of national figures on the cover, and then you sort of switched to doing profiles on big local St. Louisans, too.
Right.
Talk about that. I mean, how did you go from thinking of,
just
you know, a top model to somebody who was local, too? What was that transition?
Right, just moving with the times, trying new things. What works, what doesn't. You know, print was dying. Still, we're trying to figure out how that looks. So we were just trying to, for one, keep our base as well as increase our social media. How do you increase your social media from a national perspective with local faces? Which nothing is wrong with that. So what we decided to do was go find national acts, bring the national acts on the cover, fill it with St. Louis's powerhouses, which then will give St. Louis a national face. Because if you see Nick Cannon on the cover and you're in New York, you're going to recognize Nick Cannon before you recognize, say, Vanessa Cooksey from Wells Fargo. But if Vanessa Cooksey's in that book, then now I'm able to expand everyone's brand and put it on the national platform. So that was kind of what that was about.
What has the past 10 years sort of taught you in terms of like just with this outlet, this publication, this media outlet, and just the response from the community? I mean, what have you learned? I mean, do you feel that there's this need for this here? Or do you feel, what else have you learned?
Every time when I'm like, you know what, Delux has ran this course, it's always, no, we need this, Keith, or, you know, the city's like, hey, where's Delux? We need to do this. Or, you know, I'll get someone like Mike Kennedy Jr. that'll reach out and say, hey, Keith, I got this new company. I need you to help me get it out there. I need to use your platform. So it's things like that, and being invited on your show. You know, it's things like that that help me say, you know what, maybe there's still a place, maybe there's still a love for Delux. Because, I mean, 10 years later, I was 30 years old 10 years ago, you know, so I was young and I was in the club and I was, you know, this social, but the magazine has grown as I've grown. And now it's more of trying to figure out how to continue to connect with my age group as well as with the millennial, with the biggest buying power in the world right now. How do we connect those dots? And I think we're doing that with the awards and with the type of features that we're doing, and actually getting a younger staff. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of key to our longevity.
Constant development. Speaking of the awards, so you do the Power 100.
Yes.
Top 30 under 30,
yes.
You still do, and then Women Who Inspire.
Correct.
So what's coming up next? What's besides what we talked about
today? You have
the
kids, then there's 30 under 30, then there's the Women's Awards, then we gear up for the big one, the Power 100 Gala.
And when is the Power 100?
That'll be December 22nd at Chase Park Plaza again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you and your team, I mean, I'm always very impressed with everything that you've done, and do it with a lot of energy and creativity. And so it's just great to have you here to talk about the most recent project. But we've got that information there for you on the screen. Check it out. It's the 2019 Phenomenal Kid Awards. It's coming up, the actual ceremony and event on March 31st, but more details of who these honorees are, these 25 kids who've been selected for the award, is on deluxemag.com. Again, right there on the screen, deluxemag.com. And Keith, it's great to see you.
Thank you
for coming in
always.
today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, there's more STL Live right after this. Please stay with us.